Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show.
Okay, we are doing our next session. We were so successful last time with Eve and Sadie that we're just going to take another baby step forward if it works. Rather than hooking this front piece of the training harness pole to these screw eyes and having to deal with hardware that makes noise, that might not be easy to do while the two horses are standing here, we're going to have two people standing here just like this. Now that might be another spooky object problem with Eve and Sadie. We won't know until we try. So my cameraman's going to come over here, leaving the camera on us, and he's going to stand right here, just like Everett, my handy person who works with me every day here in Shadrach Farms, is standing to hold up his end. Can you turn, before you leave, Kyle, turn to how we have the two horses set up at a distance in a straight path to come here to the training harness pole, step over the back of it, and hopefully stand parallel to it. I will have a arm extension if they don't, and I'll deal with it. Last time, Eve was the one who pushed her hip out. When I tried to apply pressure, and this is at the end of my last video, I think it's part 14, she moved into the pressure, which was no surprise to me. Oftentimes horses will move into the pressure because they misunderstand. But I did rhythmic pressure. Go ahead. I did rhythmic pressure until she understood and said, oh, I want to get away from that pressure. So she pushed her hip over, and immediately when she was in position or near position, I stopped the pressure. And that's how horses learn. You have to remove the pressure when the right answer is given. Now, we haven't done it since then. So we're going to try to do it again today. If the horses refuse to step in because there's two human beings standing there, we'll hook it back up to the wall and do some more repetition of that step. Okay, you guys start walking in. I'm going to grab an arm extension. Step up. Look at the wall, not at the horse.
Step up. Step up. Easy. Oh. Easy.
She's spooky, huh?
Easy. Yep.
Yep, she's spooky. Both of them have their hips out. So, is it your impression, Angela and Aaron, that they're spooky because we have two people standing there?
I wouldn't say that Eve is spooky. She just pushed her hip out for some reason.
Yeah, which she did last time you weren't here. Yeah, she's the one that I was able to get her hip back in. But right now they both have their hips out. So I want Angela to go ha and Aaron to go G, go back in position. We'll try it again. Maybe now that they've stood here for a few minutes, they say, oh, I guess those two guys that are holding up this spooky thing are not going to attack me. Maybe they'll be okay. And I brought two arm extensions out. One is just a white piece of PVC. The other one is just a cart whip to touch the hips if I have to, or get somebody to help me touch the hips if they have to. Let's go, girls. Come on, girls.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up. Step up.
Step up. Eve is perfect. Let's see what Sadie says.
Oh.
Oh, let's just stand there.
Good girl.
Let's just stand there. Sadie's a little bit off the parallel. Eve is almost perfect. Would you say they're a little more calm this time?
She is more calm. She was
more calm. And Eve is the same. Now, to go one tiny baby step further then, with the two boys standing at the front of the harness pole, I'm going to do what I did last time. Let's see if it works. I'm going to put my arm extensions down.
Good.
It's all right, girls.
Good. Girl.
And I'm standing here. They're both looking at me out of their peripheral. I'm not going to lift it up real slowly. I'm just going to lift it up at about the same speed as I did last time and watch their body language. Now, if you have to exit this kind of claustrophobic area, let's have Angela try to go ha, and Erin try to go G. And I think that the two harness pole holders in the front are pretty safe. If you have to put it down, put it down. Safety's always number one. Try to put it down soundlessly, because if you just drop it, they're likely to spook even more. It's all right, girls. Just standing here talking like this is good. It's all right. It's all right, girls. It's all right. It's all right. Oh, Sadie's smelling it. She's still in about the same position. Eve has like 4 feet in concrete, which is great. That means that she's not dancing around. And now, I think this is great. We're not ready to hitch the front of the harness pole to their collars. Not yet. But if we could get Angela to take Sadie ha, and Erin, Kyle, and me will, and at the same time, Erin, you're going to try to go ha with Eve, but it might be a little bit confusing. Well, we're going to try to keep this harness pole between them. Anybody think that that is too big of a step for this session?
Just tell me where I'm going.
Okay, you're going to go with Angela. We're trying to keep the harness pole between them because that's where it's going to be when we start doing farming work around here in pairs. Erin, do you have any concern about going ha instead of G?
Just that I'm on the right side of
I know, right. I was thinking about that. How are we going to get her to go ha when you're on her G side?
I could step under her.
Go under her neck, then you're between the two. That's still another. No, I don't want to do that because that's not realistic. There's one other thing we could try, but that's backing. And backing is a great request. If you can get a horse to back with vigor, there goes Sadie. Her hip is going out.
They're probably going to back at different paces.
Yes, they'll back at different paces. They may end up touching this, making a noise. Put this down. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and guys in the front, you go down with me. 1, 2, 3, down quietly. Good girls. Good. And you know what? I think we haven't really thought the logistics out of how we're going to get a G and ha. So what I'm going to ask Angela and Erin to do is go back out the way you're accustomed. Come back in. And I just thought of something. Why don't we move out from the wall? Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's essentially in the same place. Okay, let's go down. Yeah, we haven't been using these portable panels. Can you go to the, first go to the camera and make sure that the camera sees them. Those portable panels are going to help us with hip adjustment, hip angle adjustment if we have to, but you know, they make the area kind of claustrophobic, which is another issue that we have to deal with. Now we're pretty wide open. And I'm just going to do this one step at a time. I haven't really thought it all out. I'm going to pick up my arm extensions. And Kyle and Everett are going to go to the front and pick it up. Pick up the harness pole. Good. Now we're not as close to the wall, but when you guys walk into the harness pole, you're going to still walk as if you're going to the wall. And I'm going to stay on this side because Sadie's the one that usually needs a little bit of direction. Okay, let's step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Step up.
Step up. Visual block. Good. I gave her a little bit of think about. You might have to put it down if she steps over the harness pole. And she went right beyond it. Come back, Angela. I'm going to try to stand here, but you see, I have to be behind the drive line to help the forward motion, and yet I'm going to try to stand here. I'm going to switch the white one, which is more obvious to my left hand, and get her to stand next to her mom, Eve. It's all right.
Steady.
Steady now. Whoa.
Oh.
She's dancing, but not too bad.
Good girl.
It's all right. It's all right. Good. She moved out a little bit, but she's still parallel. We have spreaders if we want them to travel farther apart. It's all right.
Easy.
It's all right. Okay, now she's out of alignment. Come back. Go around again. Luckily, Eve is a pretty solid horse, doesn't get scared by these things. So she's standing here. She's being patient. Now, without my arm extensions, I'm going to see if I can just extend my arms to get the message through.
Steady. Oh.
Whoa!
Oh.
I'm going to go back here. I'm going to lift, not real slowly.
Easy.
It's all right.
Good girl.
Her hip went out a little bit. She's smelling it. That's okay. I want her to investigate. But she's not parallel anymore, so I'm going to put it down again. And Angela, you go out. You haw out.
Step up, paw.
Repetition, repetition, 100 times, 1,000 times, whatever it takes to get their confidence, for us to be mutually confident with each other. We want them to trust us, and we want to trust them.
Good girl.
It's all right. I'm stepping out a little bit, using my arms up
Steady.
high, being big.
Oh.
Whoa! Whoa, good girl. I'm going to go over here. See, she's kind of smelling it. I'm going to pick up, not too quietly, not too quickly. And both of them have their heads down. Both of them are showing me relaxation in their body language. Both of them are being patient enough to give us 30 seconds with the harness pull up between them. And I'm going to go down. And Aaron and Angela, take your horses out. Haw, G and haw. And I'm going to call that our moment of resolution. That's a Pirelli term. We keep looking for the right time to finish the session, the right time that we're getting the right answer, the right time to let them think about the fact that it wasn't spooky, it wasn't scary. And now we're going to stop the session and show you what happens next session. That's all for today. Here's our next session with Sadie and Eve. Now, Eve is really easy to harness up, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Sadie is getting easier and easier. You can see she's not quite as asleep as Eve, but is showing good body language. Our biggest concern still is, will she offer to kick up, not out, but up, when Angela puts the britchin on. And we have available here an arm extension. This is just like a half of a lunge whip, which Angela will take in her left hand and touch Sadie on her left side of her neck to give her focus elsewhere than what we're doing in the back. She knows we're back there. We're not surprising her. She just has a bad habit of picking her leg up when she feels somebody or something back there. And to tell you the truth, it's been for years that it's been that way. I am watching some of my videos of harnessing Sadie for cart and for driving years ago, and that was a problem back then. So we just really haven't eradicated it. And according to Temple Grandin, who's an expert on cow behavior and also knows horse behavior, she's a professor at Colorado State University where there's a vet center. She says that you can never trust 100% that you've eradicated a wrong answer. You can get so that you can be comfortable 95%, but always be aware that it might happen again and then deal with it when it does. All right, so we're putting the britchin on. Go ahead, Angela.
Right now I'm just doing the trooper.
Okay, she's putting the crooper on, which Sadie's pretty good at, or does she get stiff?
She gets a little bit.
Yeah, I can see. Her tail is kind of clamped down. So yeah, you give her a reason to feel good and say, don't clamp it down. Okay, and here comes the crooper up out of the tail hairs. It's all right. Angela's keeping her legs kind of out of strike zone. You never know how far or high a horse will strike if they get scared. So just do your best to stay out of strike zone of a horse or a cow. Okay, and did you have any, now you're going to go get the britchin, huh? Okay, that's the issue. And let me just tell you, while we watch their body language, while we have a helper here doing some concrete work, shoveling and making noises, but both horses seem to be okay on it. Angela said that this morning she was having a little trouble with Sadie, because Sadie tends to like to chew at her lead line. So Angela took a crop and kind of touched Sadie on her neck and got her focus elsewhere than the lead line, and the problem was solved, at least for this morning. And with repetition, we hope to eradicate it at least about 90% as she matures. Okay, now here is the britchin. Good girl so far. Angela's giving her praise. Good girl. Her body language is looking good. I don't see any kind of lifting of the leg. It could have happened by now, but you know, and maybe something else is going to spook her and she's going to lift it. We connect to our dog collar in the center of the cinch of the saddle. Bring the britchin back up. Now there's another strap on the other side on her right rear. It's kind of hanging at her ankle. But she doesn't seem to be upset about it. She's getting maybe used to all these feelings. Angela's touching her all over, being big, bringing her tail out. Okay, so does that often happen when you bring her tail out?
No, it doesn't usually happen.
Doesn't usually happen. All right, so I made a negative sound. My horses know, and so do my dogs know, that when I go, that means we're not getting the right answer. So we're going to watch for that. We thought we were past the worst of it, that she wasn't going to lift her leg. She almost got an A+, but now we'll have to say a B+, because lifting the tail caused her a little bit of stress. And it looks like lifting the leg as a result of stress is her modus operandi. Again, she did it. I said it even louder this time. All right, we're okay now. We're harnessed up. Each time we harness up, we'll watch for that, and we'll either have somebody here to help you, or you'll just try to keep it in your other hand. And if you see her leg going up, you're just gonna rub her on her neck, get her focus elsewhere. All right, now what we're gonna do is bring the harness pole down. Can you reach it?
Yep.
Okay. We have a very tiny baby step objective today because we really don't have a good team today. Everybody's off doing something else. It's still the holiday season. Come 2 horse lengths away from the wall. At our last session, 1 horse length away, we were able to get Eve and Sadie to step into the harness pole and be parallel and lift it in the front and the back. Well, actually, the front was already lifted, and then we lifted it in the back. Sadie didn't object. Okay, but here now we're about twice as far away as we were last session, and you can go back on this very video and see what I mean. And since we don't have a good team today, the only thing we're going to do in this position with the harness pole is walk the 2 horses into position in the harness pole, and try to get their hips over. If their hips push out, which is what they tend to do in stress. And Everett, who helps us once in a while with filming, he'll operate the camera and be there in case of any kind of emergency. We're getting less and less, knock on wood, concerned about those emergency type of wrecks because of repetition. We are now on part 15 of pairs driving training, and we may go up to as far as part 30. I don't know, because we're just taking tiny baby steps, stopping on a good note of resolution as best we can determine, giving our horses confidence so that they will behave and we can have confidence in them. So the next time we start the camera, we will be approaching the harness pole. Yeah, Sadie always goes on that side, right? Try to do loose rein. I might have Everett. It's all right. Come and hold Evie. Whoa! Okay, go back around. Too hard to back her up. Backing up would have been one way to deal with that. Best just to go back around. Give her a little head start and start tugging on her lead line like you want her to hoe. Evie did so well, I'm just going to let her stand here on a slack lead line as long as we can.
Steady.
Oh.
Good
Okay,
girl.
good. Her hip is out a little bit, but not too bad. Very nice.
Girl.
Yeah, and she's putting her head down. Yes, she's looking relaxed. Did I say this was going to be a tiny baby step? It is, because we're going to call this our moment of resolution. Okay, we're starting to untack Sadie, but I'm going to give you a postscript of what is in my mind of what is the next step. We're going to do this again with a at least 4 or 5 member team. And then we're going to have if we have somebody to hold this up, hold up the front, just like we did before, about 5 feet from where we are now. And then we'll have somebody else holding Eve so that I can be in the back to pick up the back of the harness pole, hoping that that problem of having Sadie get concerned about somebody back there picking it up is still eradicated. We got rid of that problem in the last couple sessions. And then if everybody is standing where they're comfortable standing, the human beings, the horses, without connecting yet to the collars, we have quick releases here that will connect to the collars ultimately. We're going to, almost as a team of soldiers, we're going to march forward with the horses, maybe a horse's length, maybe 3-4 strides, keeping the harness pole between them, hoping that they'll stay in position with the harness pole. That's going to be a giant next step, if we can do it. And if we have to break it down into 2 or 3 tiny baby steps, we will. It all depends upon how these Morgan horses, Eve and her daughter Sadie, behave as we proceed in training them to pull for farming. Our next session with Eve and Sadie. Here comes Sadie. My cameraman is going to go and get Eve. We're short 1, if not 2 team members today. But we just want to go a very tiny baby step next. We hope to be able to bring the 2 horses in parallel on the training harness pole. And if we can get the horses to stand nicely in the training harness pole, in the past I've been able to do this. They kind of trust me. I'm going to go in the back and try to lift the back ever so slightly. Probably no higher than what it is in the front. It is very important that we're doing this here, close to this shelter. One big mistake we've been making, and I didn't find that out until I watched my Preventing Wrecks DVD yesterday, which finally came in the mail, that we're doing it out in the open without a tie post, without a wall, can be much more challenging than doing it up against something. So not only do you want to first be able to do it up against something like a wall or a tie post, but you want to make sure your horses will stand still when you ask them to. And so that's what we're doing today. There are 10 issues in that DVD. Most of them I'm okay on because I bought my tack from Doc Hamill.
Steady.
Whoa!
Oh.
Now you give her a heads up. I want you to stop. Evie's being good. See, they're a little bit concerned about things being different in the front, and that was my tiny baby step. She's okay. You can leave her there. She has trusted me in the past to go and lift it up in the back, as long as we were here close to a wall. So we're pretty close, but not as close as last time. Whoa!
Oh. Good girl.
Okay, now she's out a little bit with her hip, and that is totally expected until you get them to understand what position they must be in. She's investigating, and I'm glad. It's important to investigate. I'm going to pick it up. It's all right, girls. It's all right. I picked it up. She's licking her lips. Sadie's licking her lips. Evie is half asleep, putting it down. Now I'm going to walk away. I'm going to walk back there. She's investigating again. Now it may make noise. I've got an extra arm extension there, just in case I need to grab it. It's just a piece of PVC. It's all right, girls. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right, girls. Up we go. We're okay. We're up off the ground, parallel to the front. Down we go.
Good girl.
Good girls. And the horses stood still. Extremely important. Get them to stand still when you want them to stand still. So, I'm extremely pleased with our progress today. The tiny baby step of bringing them into a slightly raised training harness pole and getting them to stand still and to be relatively parallel. And we'll work on refinement as we continue to train Eve and her daughter Sadie to be farming horses. And soon I want to start designing my forecart. I haven't been able to find one on the open market that I can afford or want to haul out here from who knows where. So my handyman is going to watch the Preventing Wrecks DVD because it has very good instruction about forecarts and how to use the center pole and how to be careful with it. So I made an extra list of notes for my handyman to follow, and soon, when time permits, I'm going to ask him to start building my forecart, because that's going to be a whole nother series of training sessions. And by the way, today Angela said she had no problem putting the britchin on Sadie. She had an arm extension in her left hand so that she could touch Sadie's neck and get her focus there and make nice with it. And Sadie did not lift up her back leg as she often did and does. We are eradicating that wrong answer with repetition. I know that safety is extremely important. And one other thing that I want to emphasize from the Preventing Wrecks DVD is Doc Hamill says that if you are meticulous, if you are ever aware, you cannot relax and think about other things. You must stay focused on what you're doing, your tasks at hand. If you are ever aware and stay focused, you are much less likely to have a wreck. But if you are not meticulous and your mind wanders, you are much more likely to have a wreck. And I highly recommend that you watch that DVD before you try any of this. Unfortunately, I didn't have access to it until a couple days ago. Had I had it a year ago, I wouldn't have had to have learned all of the stuff by myself. We had some near wrecks, but nobody was hurt. The horses were not injured or sick as a result of them. But each time I had a near wreck, I always analyzed the situation and made sure that I didn't repeat the mistakes.
See more at www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.